What is going on, guys? Welcome back to We Won Picks. My name is Jacob, aka the Freckled Saddler Man. They're here to bring you my quick pick video for UFC 304. But before we get into this week's video, make sure you like the video, by the way. Subscribe if you are new. There's a lot of people that try to watch all our videos, but they're not subscribed. Make sure you're subscribed because you might miss something. Later this week, we might have something very special planned. So make sure you hit that subscribe button. And as always, go to WeWantPicks.com. Check out the website. If you've never checked out the website, I would encourage you to just go and just admire the beautiful website and then look at everything you get for premium membership at only $10 a month. We got a big card coming this week. Angelo's been absolutely killing it. The safety parlay's been hitting like crazy. Lock of the week's going to get back on track this week, and I've got a bajillion bets already on the board for this week. Feel good about every single one of them. Without further ado, let's get into this week's quick pick video. It's going to be rapid fire, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Quick pick, UFC 304. Let's get right into it. First up, we got Modestas, Bukauskas versus Marcin, Prachnio. I'm going with the dog. Straight off the rip, off the first fight of the night. The reason is, I just don't like the volume of Modestas in a normal fight, and I really don't think I'm going to like the volume in Modestas against a guy like Prachnio, who's like that karate style. That karate style is kind of hard to figure out. And after you already lose the first round, now you're into that second round, it's going to become a problem. I believe Prachnio is going to have the volume, and he usually only struggles against wrestlers. We'll see if Modestas comes in with a wrestling game plan, but it's hard to get inside those karate guys, and without that wrestling, I just think Prachnio's volume is going to be too much for Modestas. It's probably going to be a close fight. Could be a split decision, close decision. I will take the underdog odds in Prachnio in this fight. Let's move on to the next one. So we got Shauna Bannon versus Ardelean. Let me just say this, and I do my research for all the people out there, men, women, whatever you may be, whatever you might be interested in. I would encourage you to go to Ardelean's Twitter account. You can go to the IG as well. But if you go to the Twitter account, you start scrolling down, you're going to find out quick, fast, and in a hurry why I picked her in this fight. Just go and check it out. I'm taking Alice in this fight because I think that she has the assets to win this fight. I believe that she's got enough power behind her to be able to push the pressure on Shauna Bannon. I have no issues with Shauna Bannon, but that little taekwondo karate style is nice and clean when you're fighting somebody that also kind of fights that way. That Bruna Brasil fight, they both kind of fight similar, so it's a little bit back and forth. Obviously, she lost that fight, but when you get somebody in your face, it is going to be bad news. I know this is short notice. I know Alice is not like the most dominant person in the world, but I think that she's going to have the pressure, get on top, and once she gets on top or even push her against the fence, she is pretty well grounded in the hamstring area to be able to win. Let's move on to the next one. And Patterson versus Kiefer Crosbie. Oh, yeah. I'm going 3 dogs off the rip. Now, if this fight goes to the ground, Sam Patterson's going to win. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. He is a grappler, jiu-jitsu guy at his core. Those long arms, those long legs. We saw Kiefer like not even defend the rear naked choke at all in his last fight versus Kevin Jousset. If it goes to the ground, Sam Patterson's going to dominate. On the feet, I understand Kiefer's not the best guy in the world, right? He's a 10-4. He's like this whatever boxer. He does the weird stuff, all that stuff. But I'm telling you right now, he's a good enough boxer with good enough power to put the lights out of Sam Patterson, because Sam Patterson has a slow jab. He is slow in his striking defense. I think he is absolutely terrible in the striking. And if Kiefer comes in and just blitzes this guy, just like that red troll dude did, whatever his name is, 2 fights ago against Sam Patterson, just get in his face, put him against the fence, and just fucking throw bombs at that chin and see what happens. I believe that's what's going to happen. I have a small bet on it. Go We Want Picks to see what that is. Again, not a high confidence play. As a pick, Sam is probably the pick, probably the play, but I just hate his striking way too much, and I think Kiefer can find that chin, but the second it goes to the ground, I think it's all over for Kiefer, so don't get it twisted. I am going Kiefer, but it's like kind of a Hail Mary. I get it. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we got Oban, Elliott versus Preston, Parsons. Preston pressure. Preston pressure Parsons. Sally sells seashells by the seashore. How much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck chuck wood? I can handle it all. I got the tongue to do it, baby. Now, Oban Elliott, in this fight, could have... There's something in the back of my mind, okay? I'm picking Preston here because he is just the better fighter. He's a better fighter, but something in the back of my mind tells me that Oban Elliott, in front of the kind of home fans or whatever, could have a Hyder-like performance from last week, right? I had Jung Young Lee, right? I was very high on Jung Young Lee, but Hyder came in, turned it into an immediate brawl, and came out on top. Oban Elliott is a tough son of a bitch. He can take a shot, and if he gets in a brawl with Preston Parsons, that's probably his best opportunity, because Preston Parsons really wants to get this fight to the ground, and that's why I kind of favor him, and I'm not quite as worried about it, because Jung Young Lee was always just going to try to counter-strike, unless he was like in real big trouble, he was going to wrestle. Obviously, it never got to that, because Hyder was all over him, but if Oban comes in, hurts this guy, gets too over-aggressive, boom, the level change should be there for Preston Parsons. Oban Elliott's a tough dude, kind of struggled a little bit with Val Wardborn, almost got put out by Val, and was just kind of out-wrestling this guy. Preston, that's what he wants to do. He is a very good grappler, very good wrestler, pretty good control, submission threat as well. Preston's just the better fighter. I got to go with Preston. Oban's a tough guy. This could turn into a weird fight. I do have some money on Preston as well. I'm going Preston. Let's move on to the next one. Mick Parkin versus Lukasz Brzeski. And honestly, I feel like this could end up looking like the Thomas Peterson-Usman fight. I said, and I try to relay to you guys, that Usman probably is not a UFC level guy, right? We saw, Thomas Peterson struggle with Pogues because he had a nice jab. Usman didn't have that jab, and you saw what happened in that fight. I don't think Lukasz is a UFC level guy. I'm not saying that Mick Parkin is a world beater and he's a future champion. I sat here and I told you Thomas Peterson's not very good, but Usman just wasn't as good either, so I picked Thomas Peterson. Kind of the same thing here, and I could see the same thing kind of playing out to where once you get in there, you realize, oh, yeah, Mick isn't that good, but he's definitely better than Lukasz. So I understand the odds here. Mick should win this fight. I have Mick. I have him in a little bit of a parlay. I think there's an opportunity for a 30-27 here, maybe even kind of a second or third round finish. I'm going Mick Parkin here. He should just be a little bit better. He's not a great fighter. I understand that, but he should be better than Lukasz Brzeski. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we got Caolan. Is it Caolan? God, I can't. Loughran versus Jake Hadley. Short notice, Jake Hadley coming up in weight. Listen, I know that most people probably are going to break down this fight and say Jake Hadley's path to victory is going to be almost a Hail Mary submission, right? He's pretty dangerous on the ground. Caolan is a guy that kind of does want to wrestle. He'll kind of stay in your face, but he wants to get to that wrestling in that control. And people are like, if Jake can get the submission win, that's how he's going to win. I agree with that partially. I think Jake can win this on the feet. You're the smaller guy. Let's use your speed, right? Let's stick and move, because Caolan is a guy that will get hit. He is a brute of a guy. I'm not a big fan of his fight style. He will sit there and he will eat shots. He's not bobbing and weaving. He's just kind of stiff, moving forward. And he's going to take a shot to give a shot to get to that wrestling, to get to that grappling. If Jake uses that 130 or that 125 speed, and he's sticking, he's pumping that jab out, he's moving, he's pumping that jab out, and he tries to win this fight off of points, I think he can actually do that. But I think that the physicality of Loughran is going to be a little bit too much. I think he probably is going to get the takedowns, and the jiu-jitsu probably is just not going to work enough for a guy like Jake Hadley. So, I'm going Loughran here. I played him a little bit this week to see in a kind of a weird way. You can go to WeWantPicks.com to see what that is, but I think Jake Hadley is a little bit more live than people are going to give him credit for. He can win a couple of different ways, but I just think the physicality is going to be too much. So I'm taking Loughran. Let's move on to the next one. Next up, we got McCann versus Bruna, Brasil. Come on, guys, man. Come on. I understand, man. I understand Molly minus 350. I understand she's, the meatball. She's physical. She's going to come forward, and she might get in Brazil's face. But we got a beautiful Brazilian with the last name Brasil. I'm not picking against. Are you kidding me? I'm not picking against Bruna Brasil. And I actually think she's got a good shot to win this. She's got to use her footwork. She's got to dance around. She's got to stay away from Molly. Don't let her get in the pocket. And it's going to be dangerous because in the pocket, Bruna Brasil does get a little bit lazy in her striking defense and she could get beat up. But she is at Fighting Nerds. I believe that she is improving very, very quickly. I wouldn't be surprised if Bruna Brasil tries to initiate the grappling and the wrestling on a girl like Molly McCann. A little bit taller, a little bit longer if she gets on top. This isn't going to be easy. This is probably going to be close. I'm taking Bruna Brasil. I'll take it. Come on, you know I'm taking it. It's not crazy high confidence, anything like that. But there's no way I'm picking against a beautiful Brazilian female named Brasil. Moving on to the next one. Wood versus Daniel Pineda. I'm going Nathaniel Wood here. I mean, this is I don't want to say a setup fight, but Nathaniel Wood's a very good fighter. I picked Naimov versus Nathaniel Wood as my lock of the week. It took everything Naimov had to beat Nathaniel Wood. There's no doubt about that. I mean, he took a couple nut shots, maybe a fence grabber here, and he actually got sat down. I got scared out of my mind when Nathaniel Wood cracked that dude, almost put him out, right? Nathaniel Wood can be a little bit chinny. What worries me a little bit is that Daniel Pineda is pretty sneaky with some of these submissions. So if he clips Nathaniel Wood a little bit and Nathaniel Wood defaults to the wrestling when he's not quite, it's kind of an off shot or whatever, you have to worry about the submission threat of Daniel Pineda. But I mean, Nathaniel Wood's a pretty solid fighter. He should know what's going on here. Stick and move, wear this guy down, work in the wrestling when you need to, and win this fight. He should be the better fighter. There's a reason he's minus 400, minus 500. I'm taking Nathaniel Wood. Let's move on to the next one. Mokaev versus Manel. Cobb. Initially, I went back and forth on this one. It was the last fight I picked, and then I started watching it more and more and more, looking into the numbers. I'm going Mokaev here. I'm going Mokaev, and I feel better about it than I did. I rewatched the Alex Perez fight. I understand a lot of people did not like that performance, but what I liked the most is even when Mokaev said he wasn't feeling well or whatever it was, the timing of his takedowns is so good. I understand he didn't really get the takedowns against Perez, but Perez is a very good defensive wrestler. But the way that he was able to level change underneath the powerful shots of Perez, the timing is spectacular. There's two things I like about that. Number one, Manel Kape is such a low volume guy. And I believe in this fight, he is going to be waiting for that perfect shot, that big shot to knock out a guy like Mokaev. Well, guess what? Every time Alex Perez threw that big shot, not even like a monster shot, when he just came over with a little bit of a hook, anytime Alex Perez didn't throw something up the middle and it was just a little bit looping, boom, Mokaev was level changing. So I like that about Manel Kape. He's going to come in, probably throw that big shot, which should help out Mokaev even more to get to those legs. And on the ground, I don't believe that Manel Kape's going to have anything to offer for a guy like Mokaev. So I'm going Mokaev here. It's probably a buy low situation because of his last fight, because people, and I'm not a big Mokaev fan. I've said we're going to fade him eventually. I thought about it right now. But I'm going Mokaev and actually put some money on him as well. Let's move on to the next one. Arnold Allen versus Giga. Giga kick coming in. Is he going to knock out Arnold Allen? I don't think so. I like Arnold Allen here. He should just be the more complete mixed martial arts fighter. If he gets into trouble, he can go to the wrestling, which we've seen Giga struggle with before. I actually think that this could be a little bit more of a sweat than people realize. Arnold being like minus 230, minus 240. I don't know if he's going to cruise against a guy like Giga. There could be some moments here where he's going to have to overcome adversity. We've seen Arnold Allen come in, get a little bit too aggressive sometimes, get caught. Luckily, Giga isn't like crazy powerful with the hands. It's more of a complete kickboxing with a lot of kicks, that type of thing. But I believe with Arnold Allen's kind of low volume style, that these rounds could be closer than people realize. So I did play Arnold Allen, but I didn't play him straight up. I wasn't comfortable enough to put a couple units to get a unit back on a guy like Arnold Allen. He definitely is the more complete fighter. I understand the odds. He is my pick, but this one could be a little bit more sweaty than people realize. I'm going Arnold Allen. Let's move on to the next one. CLD, Christian Leroy Duncan versus Gregory RoboCop Rodriguez. And I don't really like CLD. I'll tell you that straight from the beginning. I just can't stand the way he fights. He's like an overconfident guy. All this flashy stuff he's doing with the crazy stuff, the wild stuff, just running backwards towards Arman Sarukian. Like, I mean, I can't stand the way he fights because I don't think he's as good as he thinks he is. But against a guy like Gregory Rodriguez, I think it's going to work, man. Gregory Rodriguez is a pretty simple striker that gets hit a lot. He is always moving forward, always kind of in that straight line, and you'll see him pump, and he's punching himself in the face. You'll see him eat a jab, and he's touching himself in the face. He's eating a jab. Unless Gregory Rodriguez is coming in with a grapple, wrestle heavy game plan, which he's starting to get back to that a little bit. He's a very high level grappler, decent takedowns as well. Unless his game plan is to wrestle for all 3 rounds, which it could be, and then I think it's going to be a close fight. I just think eventually CLD is going to find that big shot to really hurt Gregory. And once CLD has somebody hurt, he really is kind of a finisher in there. So I am going CLD. I'm actually a little bit more, I think this could be a matchup where he really shines. Gregory is just so hittable that I believe that CLD could end up landing that big shot, that flashy shot. I'm going CLD, but there's wrestling early from Gregory. Yeah, I'm going to feel a little bit less confident in it. But if he's in there touching his face and then he's getting jabbed up and stuff like that, I'm going to feel good about CLD. I'm going CLD. Let's move on to the next one. Bobby Green versus Patty, the baddie. Pimblett. I know people are going to go back and forth on this one. People are pretty locked in on how they feel about Bobby Green. Now King Green changed his name, or Patty Pimblett. People really love or hate Patty. I'm kind of indifferent. I'm actually a big fan of King Green. I've always been a big fan of King Green. I think I've picked him in like basically every single fight, nearly. And I'm not, I'm a little bit indifferent on Patty the baddie. I think Patty's going to try to initiate the grappling, man. I believe that he really is going to initiate the grappling, and in the grappling, he should shine against a guy like Bobby. Bobby's got wrestling. He's got good takedown defense. He's a decent grappler as well, but Patty should be better in the grappling. We already heard Patty talk about, I bet Bobby won't try to wrestle me. I bet Bobby won't try to grapple me. Right? If I think he knows that if he just stands in front of Bobby Green, Bobby's gonna be too fast for him. He's gonna be eating jabs. I think Patty comes in with wild pressure early, gets him against the fence, tries to use that judo, right? Because Patty's not really a wrestler. He's got singles and stuff like that, but he really wants to use that judo, really wants to get on the back. I think it's a very grapple-heavy game plan for Patty. And if he doesn't get Bobby out of there in the first or the second, this could get very interesting in the third. There's no doubt about that. We've seen Patty fading in the past, and we've seen Bobby start picking stuff up as the fight goes. So this could be a kind of a crossroad situation where it's like Patty starts off here and Bobby's here. And then it's just like, as the fight goes on, the pass are just, actually it's like this, right? Here's Patty, here's Bobby. As the fight goes on, it's going to keep going like this. And late in the second round, they're going to start crossing, and then Bobby's going to pick up, and it's going to go like that. So I'm actually taking Patty Pimblett here. I think he's going to get to the wrestling, get to the grappling, could find an early finish in my mind if he gets to it. I think he's that high level. But the longer this fight goes, the more I'm going to be worried about it. I don't have any money on Patty. Let's move on to the next one. Main event time. We got the heavyweights, Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Razor Blades. I've always been a big Curtis Blades guy. Right, I picked him a lot in the fights. I picked him against Jailton. I'm a big Curtis Blades guy because he's getting knocked out by the most powerful punchers maybe the UFC has ever seen, and he kind of smokes everyone else. So is Tom going to come in and be able to test that chin against Curtis Blades? What I will say is this. Tom came in that last fight before he blew out his knee with kind of reckless abandon, right? You could tell Tom did not really respect anything about what Curtis Blades was going to bring. He was going to bring it to him, put him against the fence, and just try to knock this guy out. I think that's very dangerous. I think that's a very dangerous game plan for a guy like Tom Aspinall, because Curtis Blades is a very underrated striker in my mind. I know he's got knocked out before, but his hands are very underrated. And why would you put yourself in a position where you are the more technical striker? Tom Aspinall is the more technical striker. He's more technical on the ground. He could probably even technically use better wrestling and jiu-jitsu against a guy like Curtis Blades. So why put yourself in a position where all of a sudden you're now brawling with this guy to give him a puncher's chance? If I'm Tom Aspinall, I take my time, man. I completely come in completely opposite of that first fight. I take my time. I let Curtis kind of freak out a little bit, expecting the pressure, make him press you, and just counter-strike him. Wait for that shot, defend the shot, maybe get a little sweep, go to the back, take his back, whatever it is. If Tom takes his time, I think he can easily win this fight. But if he comes in with reckless abandon, anything can happen. So I guess I understand the odds. I think they're a little bit heavy, minus 300, minus 350, whatever it is. I am going to take Tom Aspinall because he really is the more complete mixed martial artist. But if he does not respect Curtis Blaydes and he thinks he's just going to run through this guy, this could be a bad night. This could be a bad night for England, for Manchester, for everyone in there. But I got to go with Tom Aspinall here. He should just be the better fighter. I would take my time. You know, he kind of said, I think in the embedded today, like I kind of want like some fight time, right? Let's see how good. I think his coach or his dad was like, I want people to see how good Tom is. I want him to get some fight time. Stay patient, beat this guy. Let's move on to the main event. Event time. We got Leon Edwards versus Belal. Remember the name Muhammad. And let me just preference this by saying, guys, I was a big Leon guy. He's been my lock of the week twice. I think the only person to ever be lock of the week twice and win both times as lock of the week. I picked him against Kamaru Usman the second time they fought. I said there is no way on God's green earth that Kamaru Usman can stand and strike with Leon Edwards for 25 minutes. And if he tries to do it, he will get put out. I have a tweet that says he is going to sleep Kamaru Usman. It took almost all of 25 minutes, but we called it to perfection. Here comes the rematch, the third fight. Leon at home versus Usman, plus 200 dog, 205 dog, right? People are saying, oh my God, Usman's gonna fucking smoke him again because he was smoking him for 24 minutes and then he got knocked out. Jacob, how could you pick Leon? I said, no, not only am I gonna pick Leon, he is my lock of the week, and I put $1,000 on Leon Edwards to beat Usman against all odds. And I had some people saying today, it was an obvious pick, Jacob. The fuck it was. If you would have seen the hate I had all week leading up to that pick and that fight, woo! So I understand Leon. I know Leon very, very well, right? There was no reason for that fight and my $1,000 on Leon Edwards in that third fight versus Kamaru Usman to be that close. He should have defended the takedowns and just smoked Usman on the feet. But guess what Leon does? He just hangs out, man. I know Leon better than anybody. And people are going to disagree and you're going to see the comments or whatever. This guy has no sense of urgency to win rounds. He has no sense of urgency to get off the fence if he is held there. Right? Yeah, he might defend takedowns. He's got good takedown defense, but if somebody's just holding him against the fence, the guy won't move. He won't try to get off the fence. That's an issue because in that first fight versus Kamaru, he was controlled basically the entire time. They fought a second time, controlled basically the entire time. The third time, Usman didn't quite go all in on the wrestling. What I say about Usman before, he is a single shot wrestler. He's going to take a shot. If he doesn't get it, he's going to give up. He's going to back out because he has the striking. Usman has the striking. He can strike with people, so he's not going to go all in on the wrestling. So we come all the way full circle. Leon's about to fight Colby Covington. And I sat here, I made Colby Covington my lock of the week. And I said, because Colby Covington is going to go all in on the wrestling. And if you go all in on the wrestling on Leon, you're going to smoke him because he's got no sense of urgency to get people off his hips, to win rounds, to win minutes. If he's losing the round, he will just stand and point and kickbox because that's just what he does. If you watch his fight, this is what he does. He has no sense of urgency to win rounds. And guess what Colby Covington did? Didn't fucking do that. Broke his foot in the first round. Whatever he says, the first kick he threw, didn't try to wrestle to the end. Once he did wrestle, he started getting the wrestling going, but he didn't go in all in the wrestling. So I looked stupid in that pick. Guess what Belal's going to do? Oh, he's going to go all in on wrestling. Oh, he's going all in on the wrestling. And he's going to win this fight. Oh my God, Jacob. Oh my God, Jacob. Leon Edwards was smoking him in that first fight. Leon was smoking him. You're going to see all the comments already. Dude, Leon was smoking him. Number one, it was one round. He won one round of one fight. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, whatever it was one round. We've never seen somebody drop the first round and win a fight, right? The same thing was being said with Belal Muhammad against Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque knocked him out cold. They rematched. People were like, oh, he's just going to do it again. And Belal smoked this guy. And that was before Vicente Luque had a fucking brain bleed and is not the same type of guy. I picked against Belal Muhammad. I'm like, yeah, Luque's just going to do it again. But guess what? Belal won the rematch. And if you want to talk about the numbers game of that first fight in that first round, look at the significant head strikes. Oh, Leon was smoking this guy. Significant head strikes in that first round. Leon Edwards, 10. Belal Muhammad, 7. 3 difference. He landed 5 body shots and 4 leg kicks in there. I understand the head kick. It landed. Guess what? Belal just fucking ate it. That says more about Belal Muhammad than it does about Leon. He got wobbled a little bit. Leon blitzed him. He blocked everything. And Leon Edwards shot a takedown 20 seconds after landing that head kick. The guy tries to wrestle out of pressure. It's not going to work against Belal Muhammad. The guy's going to be all over him from bell to bell. He's going to wear this guy down. We've seen Leon before with his head down. Has to be motivated. He can't motivate himself. The second he realizes he's down a round, down 2 rounds, down 3 rounds, needs a Hail Mary finish again, it's going to be too fucking late. Belal, remember the name Muhammad. This has been a quick pick video for UFC 304. Make sure you like the video. Subscribe if you are new. WeWantPicks.com. It's only $10 a month. My name is Jake, aka the freaking Son Man. I'm out. Peace.